My name is Andrea Sheehan. I've been an elementary school teacher. I was Vice President of Digital Product Development at Random House. I'm mom of 4 and to a self-funded startup called Outthink, Inc. In the last 2 years, there were more tornadoes doing more damage in the United States than ever before. Western wildfires burned in areas the size of Massachusetts and Connecticut combined. Earthquakes have rocked Virginia, Oklahoma, and Maine. And who here remembers Hurricane Sandy? Now raise your hand if you feel like you really understand the science behind Hurricane Sandy. Can you tell us exactly why Sandy was bigger than Hurricane Irene the year before, but not as big as Katrina? Or explain how the concepts of density and buoyancy affect hurricanes. Isn't that amazing? Sandy was the largest Atlantic hurricane on record. It cost $75 billion of damage. It killed almost 300 people in 7 countries. It was all over the news for a month, and yet very few of us really understood what happened there. I was trying to explain to my 8-year-old daughter Asia why a tornado in Brooklyn, of all places, and answering what is up with all the crazy weather we're having. I wanted to explain it to her in a way that she would truly understand and have that aha moment where she grasped the science so deeply that she'd really be excited about it, want to study it, maybe even consider becoming a weather scientist one day. But I was having a lot of trouble answering her questions. And clearly, I'm not alone in that struggle. You'll have to read this, because I'm not going to read it for you. And after he said this, Carl Sagan added, "We might get away with this for a while, but sooner or later this combustible mixture of ignorance and power is going to blow up in our faces." He was raising the alarm more than 20 years ago, and yet America's science literacy has gotten worse. In fact, it's in such crisis that just last week, a group of top science educators released the next generation science standards. An almost total overhaul in the way science is taught in the United States, including for the first time a recommendation that climate change be taught in middle school. But it will take schools years to implement all these changes and train teachers. But what if teachers and parents had something in their hands right now that taught these ideas? And what if it was something that kids actually had a blast playing with? Something that combined scientific principles with the addictive power of mobile technology. We're at an historic moment where tablets can go where textbooks can't. If we apply this cool new technology to the serious problems facing the world, we can unleash a tidal wave of science-loving kids who truly understand what's happening around them and want to do something about it. And so I thought, why not capture all this crazy weather we're having on an iPad? Then let kids manipulate it, study it, and play with it until they start to really understand it. Kids could play games to master fundamental principles like density, buoyancy, temperature, and wind speed because, well, it can be fun. So, we're kicking off our extreme weather series this summer with Tornado Maker. You have been recruited to become a member, yes you, of the top secret alliance of scientists who are responsible for the future of the Earth. You'll be required to play games to master the fundamental knowledge necessary to battle the crazy weather happening all over the planet. You will then level up to the weather room, where you're challenged to manipulate the atmosphere until you build a mega tornado worthy of the Wizard of Oz. But tornadoes are just the beginning. The platform we are building will allow us to launch a whole suite of app explorations, from hurricanes to blizzards to earthquakes to tsunamis to volcanoes, and yes, the effects of climate change. Now, forget everything I've told you about exploring extreme weather, because our platform can go on to target robotics, astronomy, the human genome, in fact, any STEM subject. And while we begin with tweens, we can teach kids at any level, from grade school to middle school to high school, and we believe we even have the technology to teach adults. So this is our team, an award-winning learning scientist, a brilliant middle school teacher who's on the advisory board of the Joan Gans Cooney Center, a passionate gamer and coder, and a true pioneer of children's digital media. We are also lucky to have an incredible network of supporters and advisors, including friends from Apple, the BDC, Microsoft Studios, the New York State Department of Education, the Northern Oceanic and Atmospheric Association, and the Smithsonian Institution. We have an enormous opportunity to ignite kids through a medium they already love. Tornado Maker was created for app-loving children ages 8 to 15, and it will launch in the Apple App Stores worldwide in both Spanish and English versions. Ease of localization was a critical design factor because science and technology is a global language, which is critical not only to the success of this country, but of every country around the world. So where are we heading? We plan to release Tornado Maker in the iOS store for a mass audience this summer, followed by fall classroom pilots in California, New York, Texas, Alabama, and Florida. We align with the Common Core and focus on thinking strategies, scientific process, and building a strong base of fundamental science knowledge. If we do our job right, we will inspire children to want more of everyone's STEM products. As a measure of early interest, we put Tornado Maker on Kickstarter, and yes, we raised over $75,000, which is 15 times the Kickstarter average. Thank you. We also created a passionate community of over 2,000 teachers, geeks, gamers, and parents who care about great learning apps, and found ourselves featured on the homepage of Mashable, getting shouts out from tech icons like GeekDad and MakerMom, and going to #1 on the homepage of Reddit. That was a surprise. Now we are seeking angel investment to complete development and testing of the full array of instructional concepts for the series platform. So if anyone is feeling angelic, we'd love to help you be the first to build a tornado on your iPad. Together we can create a world in which pretty much everyone knows a lot about science and technology. Thank you.
Okay, how about some questions? Did you answer every single question? We have one right here.
How much will it cost?
That's a great question. You know, I was told once in a seminar, like, never say that's a great question. So when someone asks you to ask a question, it's the first thing you want to say. It's going to be reasonably priced. We're not sure yet. We've been playing some price points. Ideally, we've been playing around looking for sponsors for the first one because we really like to get into as many hands as possible to experience the platform and then add on to the concepts. But it will be reasonably priced and then discounted for schools at 50% off.
Are you thinking of any spin-off products like a book? I mean, really, truly, there's so much information here that part of me wants to hold on to it rather than just have it be sort of ephemeral on a screen.
What do you mean?
Well, you go from screen to screen to screen, where you have a book, you can sort of flip back and forth, and you have some of the concepts that you've learned here. You're dealing with some really complicated stuff.
Yeah. So the concepts are taught through gameplay, and the instructional designer spends a lot of time in the prototyping with kids going back and forth. And the goal, and this is the hardest part, the goal has been for having, basically you get recruited, you get sent to this boot camp, and you play these mini games. And the mini games, you're supposed to master the concept within 3 minutes of gameplay and move on. And all this is captured in a constellation of concepts that you have as your mastery board. So you feel proud about what you've learned, but also you can see how those fundamental concepts come into play across different phenomena as we build different ones. So you can revisit and replay. It's been amazing. I mean, kids with the right instruction are capable of mastering really complex concepts quickly with the right instruction, and that's the piece that's taken the longest for us in the development. We could build something cool. It's making sure the kids are learning and feeling good about that learning as they go.
Okay, I think we only have time for one more. Up in the back.
How do you assess the educational value?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Do you have any part of the data?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, we have going in, we have, we're affiliated with a youth center in Seattle where we've tested everything with kids to make sure that learning works. But then we can actually see the play that everyone has so that we can capture that data. I mean, the data capture is a big part of it so that we can actually tweak and refine the games to make sure, our goal, we set a high goal for ourselves is that, 90% plus, and I'd like to be 99% of the kids are achieving what we expect them to achieve in the time that we have. But the play is adaptive and individualized too, so you need to see what's going on with the different learners. So you're never wrong, you just might have to play longer and you're given different circumstances. So your 3-minute game might actually take you 5 minutes, and then we work to figure out what do we need to do, what's going on for the aberrations of that path to the learning objective that we need to correct to help you be successful also within 3 minutes.
Okay, Okay, I think that's